The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever FAB, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Shirley. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fab, a segment of the Forever FAB podcast where I review products, services, experiences, and frankly, whatever, in 15 minutes or less. If the full-length podcast is a couture dress, for example, then 15 Minutes of Fab is like a button-down French cuff white shirt paired with leather leggings. If you don't have time to tune into the full-length podcast, then check out 15 Minutes of Fab, just a small dose. Some have considered it truth and beauty or plastic surgery secrets or as a nerdy or academic take on wellness and beauty with a dash of fashion. Consider it what you may. My aim is to engage you as a credible and authoritative voice in most, if not all aspects of beauty and wellness with a dash of fashion. That includes products, wellness services, technologies, innovations, new scientific research, and plastic surgery. As the founder of Holistic Plastic Surgery, my approach to beauty is through a lens of wellness that's grounded in science, backed by medical study and research, strengthened by my clinical experience, and bolstered by my surgical training with the use of principles and techniques of plastic surgery. And then there's my love of fashion. Of course, I feel uniquely qualified to talk with you about beauty, wellness, aesthetics, and plastic surgery, as well as products and services within those spaces, not only because of my extensive, and may I add, expensive training and expansive background, but also because I'm one of you. Many of the human issues around aging and being a fierce fab person, as well as an agent for positive change, I live these too, and I try. You're not alone. So together we can help the world become a more beautiful, forever fab place. So if you'll have me and give me at least 15 minutes of your time, let's get at it. In this new year, I've decided that it will be one of expansion and discovery. So I'll explore all sorts of topics, near and possibly far-fetched, while still focusing on the topics that make the Forever Fab podcast, well, fabulous, namely fashion, the art of living well or wellness, and beauty. As part of my philosophy of holistic plastic surgery, which I created well over probably now 15 years ago, where I believe that beauty emanates from within, wellness plays an integral role in my practice. And this goes for many aspects of life that help you to live in grace and beauty, including nutrition, exercise, products, services, technologies, mind, body, spirit, and science. The title of this week's episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast is What Your Skin Truly Needs. This is a two-part series, and today is part 1. The shelves at the beauty counters and specialty stores are teeming with products and overflowing with hyped hope, all promising radiant, glorious, gorgeous skin. The next 2 episodes of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast are going to help you understand your skin so that you may truly discern what your skin needs best now. I'll first talk about a few basics. What is skin? What's it made of? How it works? And then I'll take you through how to use that information to think about how to best determine what your skin needs to stay healthy, glowing, and beautiful. So the first basic, what is skin? Now, the answer may seem obvious, and I know everyone knows what skin is. Everyone's got skin in the game, but it bears clarification. And it bears a little bit of, just a bit of a deep dive. Your skin is not just a covering for your insides. It's a dynamic and physiologically active organ. Yes, it's an organ. And the Oxford Online Dictionary describes an organ as, quote, a part of an organism that is typically self-contained and has a specific vital function, end quote. Did you know that the skin is the largest organ of your body? I'm always fascinated by that fact. Pretty cool, right? Okay, the skin is made up of multiple components. I mean, again, it's the largest organ of the human body. And these components will depend on where the skin is found, whether it's the skin on your face, the skin on your arms, the skin on your backside, the skin of your feet. And these multiple components of skin in various places include hair, nails, sweat glands, oiled glands, and of course, always blood vessels and nerves. On a deeper microscopic level, the skin is composed of water, collagen, elastin, various proteins, cells that produce melanin, nerves and nerve endings, oil or sebum, fatty acids, minerals, connective tissue fibers, the all-time favorite hyaluronic acid, and your skin microbiome. Now, a little bit on the skin microbiome. It's also called microbiota and also called skin flora. And it refers to the communities of microorganisms that reside in and on the skin. According to Wikipedia, many of the microbes in and on human skin are bacteria, of which there are over 1,000 species. And most are found in the superficial layers of the skin and the upper parts of the hair follicles. And the human skin microbiome also consists of fungi. Did you know that? So we really are in a community commensurate with other living organisms. Like we are hosts and hostesses to the millions of bugs that live with us. These microbes are usually non-pathogenic, which means they don't cause harm. And in fact, we get along so well with them, they help us to live healthy by preventing unfriendly bacteria and fungi from causing skin problems, and also these, our own microbiota, stimulate the immune system and help us out quite a bit. Overall, getting back to sort of the big picture, overall the skin is made up of three main layers. The epidermis is the outermost layer, the dermis is the middle layer, and the hypodermis is the innermost layer. And each of these layers will look and function differently depending on where the skin is on the body. All right, that's the big picture of what is skin, what's it look like. What is the function of skin? And I'm always amazed when I'm reminded of all of the things that our skin does for us. Now, the primary functions of skin are well summarized on this great site, hsc.gov.uk, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, according to that site, and of course, in alignment with textbooks on skin, the skin provides a protective barrier against mechanical, thermal, and physical injury, as well as to hazardous substances. That's what we all know that the skin does, right? It is a physical barrier to the outside world and separates the outside world from our inside world. The skin also prevents loss of moisture, and that loss of moisture is sometimes called transepidermal water loss, or TEWL. The skin also reduces harmful effects of UV radiation from the sun, and the skin acts as a sensory organ to touch and detects temperature, etc. The skin helps to regulate temperature. It also serves as an immune organ to detect and combat infections, foreign bodies, etc. The skin is also involved in the production of vitamin D, right? That's what it does. And it also provides color in the form of melanin or pigment. Now, if the skin has all these functions, then what causes skin problems? Well, in general, Any breach of the skin's barrier, that physical barrier that we spoke about, which was probably the number one function that people recognize the skin for, any breach of that skin barrier can cause a skin situation. And the skin will typically respond with, it's got a limited response mode, right? It typically responds with signs of inflammation, and those are generally redness or swelling, pain, or heat. Also, if you're dehydrated and the moisture content of the skin is either too high or too low, it can affect the skin's ability to function with integrity as a skin barrier. Meaning if your skin is dry, for example, especially in certain environments, like it's really cold, windy, low humidity, high sun, etc., your skin could crack. And if it's cracked, it may open. And if your skin opens or there's a wound, that's susceptible to foreign bodies and unfriendly microbes and inflammation and infection, and that could lead to all sorts of conditions that we've heard of: eczema, dermatitis, acne, rash, burns, even skin cancer, and on and on. Also, if your microbiome is in a state of imbalance, this is another reason that could lead to vulnerability and ultimately to skin disease. Okay. So what does this mean in the big world, right? Great. We know what skin is, we know what it does. What does that really mean for us and how we manage ourselves? I can often be quoted as repeating my FAB rules of beauty. The first of which is that good nutrition is the first rule of beauty. The second rule, the second FAB 5 rule of beauty, is that of adequate hydration. Basically what this means is that I believe if you abide by 2 guidelines, you'll have a better understanding of your skin and how to feed it for improved skin health, radiance, and reduced reliance on products, and especially reduced reliance on medications if a problem does arise, a minor problem. So these 2 guidelines, which are related to the FAB 5 rules of beauty, but these are 2 skin-specific guidelines. And number 1 is feed your skin what it needs by remembering what your skin is made of. Feed your skin what it needs by remembering what your skin is made of. Remember, our skin's made of proteins, minerals, water, healthy fats, prebiotics, and that's really, the food that feeds the friendly microbes. So if you take all that in, it's a recipe for fabulous beauty, isn't it? I think that's pretty important. The second skin-specific guideline is protect your skin. Protect your skin from chemical and environmental stressors that may breach your barrier. Nobody wants a breached barrier. I just realized how that sounded. Nobody wants a breached barrier, okay? Be it a physical barrier, an emotional barrier, psychological or mental barrier. Just don't breach my barrier, please. So, 2 skin-specific guidelines. Feed your skin what it needs by remembering what your skin is made of, and protect your skin and prevent barrier breach. I know I may have made it all sound so simple, and to some extent it is, but there's actually more. And skincare is actually more complex than just eating well and staying hydrated. So in today's 15 minutes of FAB, I talked about skin basics and how you can use skin basic information to guide your food choices because, again, according to Dr. Shirley, good nutrition is the first rule of beauty. In part 2 of this mini-series of what your skin truly needs, I'll discuss a few ingredients that may help your skin today and for years to come. This concludes this episode of 15 Minutes of FAB on the Forever FAB podcast. As always, stay beautiful and forever fabulous, inside and out. As always, if you love this episode of the Forever FAB podcast, please share it and subscribe to the feed. Listen to past episodes or check out who's coming up next on foreverfabpodcast.com. If you enjoy listening to the Forever Fab podcast and you want more, get more audio and visuals with a membership through Patreon. Choose the gold, platinum, or diamond tier for premium added content, special co-hosts, lifestyle videos, branded merchandise, and maybe even private access to my clubhouse by visiting patreon.com/foreverfab. If you're a founder or you represent a beauty brand and you want to be featured on an episode of the Forever Fab podcast segment of 15 Minutes of Fab, send me some stuff. Visit foreverfabpodcast.com and fill out the contact form. For general holistic beauty tips or to set up an appointment with me to discuss your personalized options for leveling up your beauty, visit elementsandgraces.com and sign up for my newsletter or just give us a call. And for an online e-consultation on time, anytime, and on your time, visit clicklift.com for your wellness, plastic surgery, beauty, and wellness questions on the go. That's click-lift.com. It's time for the Elevated House Call. Jet Set Beauty RX offers beauty on-call services near your home or other domicile, delivering beauty in the privacy of a medically equipped mobile aesthetics unit. Reserve your appointment at jetsetbeautyrx.com. Thank you for listening to this week's Forever Fab podcast episode. Until next time, stay beautiful and fabulous, inside and out.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.